welcome to Hypatia Academy. We are going to talk about functions. Okay, a function, if you're writing a program and you want to say x equals 2 times a plus 4, and a is equal to 2, we can do that. 2 times a is 4 plus 4. This will be equal to 8. What's x equal to? Okay. But as you start writing longer programs, this will get a little bit messy. So what we should do here is make a function. The function takes input. Input are called parameters, right? Parameter 1, parameter 2, and so forth. Then it returns some value. Return some value. But Python's different than other languages in that it lets you return more than one value. So we'll see that. Okay, let's take our parameter here and make it be a. Okay, let's make our function be 2 times a. We'll add 4 to it. Then we can assign that to x. Then we can return x. So if you run this, does it do anything? I need to put a colon here. It doesn't do anything. It's just created a function. So let's call it a function. Let's say function 3. What's that going to be equal to? It's going to send a 3 into this function here. And it'll call it a. Then it'll say 2 times 3 is 6 plus 4 is 10. Return the 10. There's the 10. Now we could shorten this up a little bit by just saying this. We did the same math, but we just returned the value in a return statement. Okay. Now, Python will let you return more than one variable. It's a little bit strange sometimes because it's different from other programming languages. Let's give it 2 variables. Let's call this function the multiplier. Okay, we just want to multiply x times y. Well, that's going to give 1 return value. Let's try that. Okay. Put multiplier. It's 9. It multiplied 3 times 9. But we could also have it return just whatever we could say. We'll have it return y, okay? So we run this. Sometimes we need to assign it to a value so we can see what it did. Print y. See, it returned 2 variables. It multiplied x times y, sent us back 9. Then it returned y, sent us back 3. Okay, let's change this back to 1 variable. Now, the thing about functions is you can use them anywhere you can use a value. For example, we could shorten this up like this. We could just say print the value of 3 times 4 plugged into the multiplier function. Comes back with 9. The functions can also be nested. Like if you studied algebra in school, you probably know about g of f of x, maybe not. And notice this x is different than this x. This x is a local variable. It only has scope here. In other words, what we do to this x is going to be different from what we do to this x. So in this function here, let's say g of x. All right? Then here, let's say f of 2. What's that going to do? It's going to take 2, pass it into here. It will call this function g of x and return, let's say, x squared. Return x times x. All right? Let's run this to record that function. Run this to record that function. Run this. Well, we can't see it, so we say print f of 2. None value. Okay, I've added a couple of print statements in here. Print statement is the easy way to debug stuff. So we say, okay, let's just call f of 2. It'll come here. And we want to just see what x is at that point. All right? Same thing in g of x. Just to figure this out. We're trying to figure out why f of 2 is given the value none. So I run all these cells. By the way, I'm using Jupyter notebooks. Okay, it said f of x is 2. That's good. 2 is coming in here. Then here we say call g of x. Right? So we go up here. We call this. We print out what x is there. It's equal to 2 again. Now here, let's see what f of 2 is. It's equal to the value none. Why is that? Well, it's because we've left off a return statement. Okay? Run it all again. Now we get f of 2 is 4, which makes sense. So we had left the return statement off of this, so it doesn't return any value. All right, let's just review for a minute. Okay, what is a function? It's anything we want it to be. We can define, you say def, my function, give it any name, almost any name. We can't use reserved words, like we can't call it for. That's a reserved word. We'd have to give it some other name. We had the parameters here. We put the colon here. That means we need 4 spaces here. Then we do something. Then we return the calculation. Okay? And then we call the function here. We could say like some new variable is equal to any name, some value. That value goes into here, becomes a parameter. We do something on it, and then we return the function. Okay. Now something which is a little bit stepping up in complexity is a function can have a variable number of parameters. You'll see this when we start writing full programs. You have a main function. You know, a Python program will have a main function. Okay, so when we do this little star, that just means we're having a list of variables, list of parameters. Now, if you remember, when we have lists, we can iterate through the list or loop over them. So, we can say for A in argv, print A. Right? And let's just call main. Let's call main here. We'll say main Walker Michael Costas. Okay, that's three parameters that we're going to send into this function. We run all of this. Okay, it prints off Walker Michael Costas. All right, let's talk about named functions. Okay, so far we've had functions like this: x, y, return x times y, function 3, 4. All right, but that's only 2 parameters. Suppose we have a really large function with lots of parameters. Some of them are optional. Well, we can give names to it, like we can say here, the file name, the color, you know, the directory, all kinds of things. So here then we could give named arguments. We could say file name is equal to abc.text. And then we can put them in any order they want. I mean, when we put x and y, it made the first value x and the second one y. We can put them in any order here. Then we can leave out color. And that's going to be really useful when we get into machine learning and more advanced programming, when they're going to be very large functions. All right, you see that? You know, director is last, but we put it first. File name was first, we put it last. Color we just completely left out. Okay, that's a review of functions. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.